Hello, everyone, and welcome to At Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer, and welcome to our guest, Todd McKinnon, CEO of Okta. Todd, how's it going?
It's going very well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So talk to us about the core function of your company. What is that word?
The core function is authentication.
Nice.
And it's keeping our customers secure. Our customers, about 20,000 companies around the world, big names you've heard of like FedEx or OpenAI, they have hard challenges. They have to make all of their people productive by letting them connect to all the tools they need to do their jobs, whether it's their email system or their collaboration system, or more recently, all their AI agentic applications they're trying to use. They have to connect those people to those resources securely. It's not only their employees, it's also their customers. They want their customers connecting to their websites and their mobile apps in a secure and predictable way. And that's what we do. We're an infrastructure provider that makes the lives of our end users easy, employees or customers very easy. But we also, the security teams at our customers love us because it's more secure and more manageable and helps them get the most out of their technology.
So what's the difference between authentication and double authentication?
Well,
and is that what you guys do, double or single or both?
Well, the thing we really try to do is have accurate authentication.
Okay.
So it's all about making sure the right person's going to the right resource. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. The most simplest way is you ask them a password. But now the industry has moved way beyond this. Now we can use fingerprints or face IDs, and our mission is to just make it very seamless. So the person doesn't even know they're being authenticated. They just go to their technology they're trying to use, and they're in, and they're doing their job, they're productive, they're buying a product on the website, or they're being productive at work. We really want authentication to disappear. We want it to be seamless, but also at the same time have it be very secure. That's the challenge. That's why we're in business. That's why we have these 20,000 customers, because doing that is important and not as easy as it looks sometimes.
So what is the most promising path forward? Is it irises, fingerprints? I hope not fingerprints. That seems to never work, for me at least.
The name of the game in our business is flexibility.
Okay.
Meaning think of all the different ways that people can use technology, or all the different ways different computers can use different pieces can connect to other computers and other systems and applications. The AI revolution we're in now is largely about that. You have AI agents and AI bots working on behalf of users. So imagine all the different ways in the world with all the different devices and all the different networks and all the different applications. It's basically endless amount of complexity. So the key is flexibility, giving our customers the flexibility for exactly their risk profile, for exactly their use case, making it super flexible. In some cases, that may be a very low level of assurance. It's like, do a simple check, make sure it's a computer I've seen before, and that's enough to get the person into this maybe not sensitive information. But in other cases, it might be the crown jewel IP of a company, and they want to do triple and quadruple checks and make sure that every 5 minutes they recheck the person is who they say they are. So it's that flexibility and that configuration that really sets us apart.
I know you're a co-founder. What's the origin story? And what I've been dying to ask you is, what does the word Okta mean?
Yeah, so it's going on 16 years now, so it's been quite a journey, and we're very proud of our progress. So you have to rewind the clock a little bit. But at the time, I was working at Salesforce. I was running engineering at Salesforce, and cloud computing was a new thing. Mm-hmm. There were applications like Salesforce, and there were just starting to be new types of computing infrastructure. Amazon was starting to build computer services in the cloud versus something you'd buy in your data center. And so I got really excited about what would the world look like when IT departments at companies were building everything from the cloud. So I left and had a few different ideas of companies to start. And after talking to hundreds of potential customers, landed on this idea of an identity service, this identity management, this authentication service that would be purpose-built for the cloud. And it was hard at first because there weren't a lot of systems in the cloud yet, but over the years, more and more things moved to the cloud, and we were, after 3 or 4 years of hard work, we were, fortunate to be right in the right place at the right time.
And the name?
The name is actually a meteorological scale for the amount of cloud cover. So pilots use it. So if they're going to land at an airport and it's, very cloudy, it's 8 Okta. And if it's halfway partly cloudy, it's 4 Okta. But it's kind of cool. Now it kind of just, no one really knows that. They just know it's a company that does identity and security. So
Oh, I get it. Cloud.
yeah.
Okay, fine. I got it. Hit me. But it's great too that you have a 4-letter name that's also your ticker. There's not a lot of companies that have that, right?
Yeah, well, when we first started it, we wanted something that was short and easy to type in, because we knew that customers would go to the website to then get to their applications. So we didn't want a long, complex name. We wanted a short name. So and then we found this word that was easy. We could buy the domain. That was important, and it was short and easy to type in. And
No, it's
it had
great.
7 years later after we founded the company, it was also available as a ticker symbol, which is fortunate as well.
Yeah, I thought it was an acronym at one point. So it's good to dispel that. So how do you measure success, though? I mean, you're looking to prevent bad actors, bad events. And, but you said in an interview, like situation's bad, it's worse, and, not getting any better. So how do you measure and tell people what you've prevented?
Yeah, it's interesting in the cybersecurity industry. There's all this focus on the negative and the threats of what could happen. We actually take a little bit of a different approach. We try to be positive and say, what do we allow our customers to do? We give our customers, one of the hallmarks of our infrastructure is that we really give our customers choice, and they can choose whatever piece of technology they want to use in their companies, and we'll make sure it's secure and easy to set up. So it's almost, we judge ourselves on how many different types of technology and how much value our customers get out of that technology. That's our hallmark. There's other folks in our industry that have a different approach. They want to sell identity as part of their applications or as part of their platform. Big companies do this, like Amazon and Microsoft and Google to some degree. We have a different approach. We want to sell identity management, authentication, and really hang our hat on the flexibility that we have to connect to different systems and let our customers get the value out of that technology.
Yeah, I get it. But still, I mean, to me, a little bit, it's a case of, there was 100 last year and now there's 75 this year, or we stopped 75.
Yeah, it's a great example. So many customers have what they call phishing attacks,
right.
where you get the email where someone says, hey, click on this link, and it goes to a fake website. You type in your password, and now the threat actor has your password, and they can log in as you. We can eliminate that from companies.
Right.
So if they use Okta, we don't use passwords anymore. They can use their fingerprint. They can use their Face ID, and so it's phishing resistant. They can't be phished.
Right.
So we look at actually, hey, how many phishing attacks did you have last year? I was talking to the CIO, Chief Information Officer of a big healthcare company, and he said he gets 800,000 a month. 800,000 a month accounts of his customers stolen from phishing, and we can take that down to near zero.
Right. What's the business model? How does it work? Is it a subscription, and how global are you? I know you have universities and colleges that are customers. Give us a breakdown of the customer base a little bit.
It's a recurring subscription, so we're delivered as a cloud service. So it's customers pay us basically per user that uses the service. So if it's employees, it's a named user. If it's their customers, it's more of a monthly active user. But the simple way to think about it is they pay a subscription to us. We provide the services, and then there's different products that they can, more products are more per user, and we have a flexible array of different products to cover different types of use cases. We're a global company. We have about close to $500 million of revenue internationally. The whole company is about $2.5 billion of revenue a year. Last year we generated about $700 million of cash, so it's profitable growth company. And most important about this, though, is that we feel like the market for what we do is massive.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the TAM, total addressable market. How do you look at that?
Yeah, we think the TAM for what we do is $80 billion a year, and we're about
you got 2.6.
2.6. Yeah, so we have a lot of growth. I think with what's going on in the world, there's more and more cloud computing, and there's more and more security risk, and the fact that more people are working remotely and more people are working from different devices and all this technological proliferation means that there's more and more of a requirement for identity and authentication, and that's driving a lot of the growth. We're also expanding into new categories. So there's been traditional markets of access and then governance and then privileged access, and now we've broadened the product portfolio to have a market-leading product in all three of these categories. So it's expanding the TAM at the same time as we're gaining market share in the TAM.
And getting back to the customer mix, so you have corporations, universities, also governments.
Government's a very important part of our business, yeah.
Right. And you mentioned the global facet of the business. So as a subscription global enterprise software company, are tariffs any kind of threat one way or the other? How does that work with you guys?
A lot of the tariffs that have been talked about aren't applicable to services. As of now, that could change. It's a dynamic situation, as you know. But the biggest thing for our customers is that internationally, especially, they want to make sure that they have data sovereignty and that they have control of the services they use. And that's why we've invested so heavily with infrastructure and computing resources and locally operated and data provision in their jurisdiction. And that makes them satisfied that they'll have control of their data. Because back to what the point of our company is technological choice and flexibility. So we've known for a long time that we had to invest in things that would give our customers choice, whether that's running the service from the US, running the service from their local country or their local region. It gives them that flexibility and choice.
Is it tricky to be in certain markets globally, like Russia, China, even India?
Well, there's definitely different nuances in different jurisdictions, but again, you got to be flexible and you got to you got to comply with the local laws and regulations. And in the case of Russia, obviously, it's pretty difficult to do business there, given what's going on in the last 4 years in the U.S. trade law. But we're trying to meet our customers where they are around the world, because the problems we solve and the potential for technology is truly global, and that means our addressable market is global. So we're making sure we invest to meet that market.
Talked a little bit about the financial metrics, Todd. What do analysts ask you most often? What are they really looking for out of Okta?
It's all about growth. They know that this is a big opportunity. They know they can see it's not just us that tells them that the addressable market is 80 billion. They do surveys of companies, and they do look at the industry analysts, and it's pretty clear the market is very large. So they're looking at growth drivers. They look at things like, what do they see from Okta that's going to turn this 2.6 billion into this 80 billion over time? So they're very interested in the adoption of, or the sales of these newer products I've talked about. And I think on the Q4 earnings call, we talked about nearly 20% of the bookings in the quarter were from these new products, emerging products. So it's showing our ability to innovate in the market, build these new categories within our broader category, which is called identity management. It shows our ability to build new modules, new products, new capabilities, increase that revenue per customer, gain new customers, and ultimately it's about growth. We've proven that we can generate profit. I mentioned $700 million of cash flow last year, and they want to see that sustained long-term growth to get confident that we can go from where we are now to a much larger company.
I think you said in your most recent annual, the 2025, which just ended a month or two ago, that you had GAAP net income.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And so what is the outlook for 2026 in terms of the top line and for GAAP even net income? What are you guys talking about?
We're guiding. Our guidance we issued after Q4 was to grow the top line just north of 10% and 11%, and then to generate GAAP net income again. We're investing both in growth and addressing new markets and new capabilities, but also making sure we're running a profitable business as well. At this scale, with the recurring revenue base we have, we're in a very healthy financial position in terms of profitability as well.
I mentioned you were a co-founder and the CEO, of course, and a lot of co-founders aren't the CEO of a company after 15, 16 years. How is it that you have adapted and changed and grown into this role?
I think I'm very pleased with myself to be able to do it, but it's not maybe why you would expect. The reason is because you really have to be humble, and you really have to admit that you don't know. There's a lot of things you don't know. So I think the key to being, doing a job in a company that's changed as much as Okta has over the last 15 years, is just really admitting that you don't know. and being open to the people that work for you that all have great ideas, being open to your mentors in the industry and board members about what you should be doing differently. But at the same time, you also have to, you can take that to the extreme, and you can listen to so many people and so many different opinions that you can just get confused about what you need to do. So it's striking that balance between humility and openness to new ideas, but also having enough conviction and enough confidence in your own ideas and your own vision to know when to follow your own rudder and know when to take some advice.
Who are some of those mentors? Is it Mark Benioff? You said you worked at Salesforce, other people in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I think one of one person that's really helped me as I've been growing Okta is Ben Horowitz, Andreessen Horowitz. He's when I met him 16 years ago, and it was one of the earliest investments that his firm made was into Okta. They led our seed round and then later our Series A, coming up on 17 years ago. He had been a CEO. He'd been a CEO that had taken a company from founding and through some transitions into a public company. So he had a lot of leadership context. And then over the years, he's been a great mentor and friend with regards to just the struggles of growing a company and the challenges that you're going to face, and like what I was talking about, when to listen to people and when to have your own conviction. And he's been really helpful for me.
A lot of changes over at A16Z over those 15, 16 years, right?
Yeah, we kind of grew up together. I remember when my co-founder and I first met them, it was literally Mark and Ben and their third partner, Scott Cooper. And we kind of, for a long time, I was very embarrassed because we were the company that was supposed to grow, and they were growing faster than us.
Right. Well, yeah.
We finally caught them around 300 people, but
right. Yeah, they have grown. The stock was, went up tremendously during the pandemic. It's kind of lagged down a little bit since then. What's the story there, Todd? And what are you doing to, make the stock perk back up?
Yeah, it's all about growth and reaccelerating growth. I think over the last couple of years, like a lot of companies, as the economic environment really post 2021 and post their interest rates changed, our growth rate is decelerated. And so I mentioned that investors want to know about growth. What they really want to know is when growth is going to reaccelerate. And when we talk
Delta over delta.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And what we talk about is the big picture ideas in the business about the addressable market. But then we also talk about specifically what we're doing: success internationally, success with large enterprises, success with these new products, success with both the employee identity part of our business, but also the customer-facing part of our business, which is a big driver. And then what's on everyone's mind now is AI, and what does AI do to our business, and how are we well positioned? And we're very well positioned because all of these AI applications, all of these agents people are deploying, they all need identity, and they all need to authenticate, and they all need to make sure that they're accessing the right information with the right permissions, and that's right at the heart of what we do. So the needs for our services are just growing and growing, and that's what we're leaning into as we look to reaccelerate growth.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about AI. Can you flesh that out a little bit more? Because, I'm on ChatGPT or some other LLM. I don't really see any authentication going on. What do you mean exactly?
Well, when you log into ChatGPT, you actually log in through Okta. Mm-hmm. So OpenAI is a customer, and we help them with identifying users to ChatGPT. It's how that application can be personalized for you. They know it's Andy logging in, and they know that these are the sessions you've had before, and they can provide you that more personalized experience. But that's the same as not just ChatGPT, but hundreds of other emerging AI applications have the same requirement. Now, when you turn that around and now you go to a company and you say, what is every company trying to do with AI? They're trying to do two things. They're trying to give their employees and their customers more personalized AI-influenced experiences. So experiences, whether it's customer service or whether it's employee productivity tools internally that bring LLMs and AI capability to that experience to make it more valuable for employees. So identity has to be employed for all those because the service has to be personalized and the right account has to be given to the right person. Now, when it really gets exciting is when you start talking about this world of agents. And the agents is basically the new way to say advanced software inside of companies. So the dream of agents is that all of these routine tasks that people do that touch all of these systems and have to query, get all this data out of these different databases, that can be automated away. And then just like people in a manual world have to authenticate to all those various data sources in a company to make it secure, those agents have to authenticate as well. So when your new agent assistant is helping you do research inside of all the databases of the various organizations you work with, that agent is going to have to log into those systems. So Okta can help that agent log in, but it can also help the database that agent is logging into make sure it's the agent. So we can help on both sides of that transaction. So all of these new agentic software applications are really driving a lot of demand from our customers, and we're well positioned to capture that market.
Maybe that's what you should tell the analysts, that you're an AI play. Maybe I'm sure you have a little bit. And that sort of leads to my final question, Todd, which is, for investors out there, why should they either own or buy Okta stock?
Well, I think you, as an investor, you want to go where the long-term trends are the brightest. You want growth, you want profitability. And so for us, those long-term trends are very simple. Every day, cybersecurity gets more important, and cybersecurity gets, with the risks and the threats, having a good cyber posture and a cyber hygiene is very important. And that starts today with identity, with everyone logging in from different devices and different networks and going to all the different applications. The identity is the one thing that brings it all together. Knowing who the person is, knowing who the customer is, knowing where they should go and being able to enforce that is very important. So this cybersecurity trend we're right in the middle of. And then when you think about what's happening in the AI world and how that just raises the importance of not only people, but also these AI agents logging into systems, that's another trend that's accelerating demand as well.
Todd McKinnon, CEO of Okta, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
This is at Barrons. I'm Andy Serwer. We'll catch you next time.